Hey everyone, this is Kim O'Neill from the Every Day is a New Day podcast and live show, and you're listening to the Going North podcast with the hilarious Dom Brightman. Be sure to subscribe to his show so you don't miss any episodes, and remember, every day is always a new day.
Today's episode is sponsored by the GoingNorthPodcast.com shop. And if you head over to the wonderful website, cop some merchandise, take a selfie with you rocking the gear, shoot it to yours truly, the host, Dom Brightman at gmail.com, and I will give you a shout out on the show as well, and heck, even tag you on social media as well. So feel free to check out some of the good old merch on GoingNorthPodcastShop.com. Now let's get on with some super special awesome content. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as GMP, the great, glorious, and glamorous, it's the Going North podcast, and we got another super special awesome human for you today because my goodness, we actually have the youngest author ever to appear on this freaking podcast. The tie has been broken at 17. We went 3 years lower, folks. 14, baby. Freaking beat that, my goodness, because the icing on the cake, my goodness. And guess what, folks? Not only is she a published author at the age of 14, she's actually been writing and publishing books since the age of 12, so my goodness, so pre-teen swag ahoy. And guess what, folks? It ain't just one book. She's got freaking 10 of them that are published and 17 that are being sharpened and polished up as we speak. So let's give it up for the SH herself, the stupendous, and who is on her way to being super special honorable, the one and only Shanti Hershenson. How you doing today, Shanti?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes indeed. That's right, indeed. My goodness, congratulations. It's always great to have some younger folks on the podcast because the host considers himself young. Because, you know, I consider old 85 collecting Social Security, so we're both far from that. Oh man, but my goodness. So still 14, do you have a birthday coming up?
Not yet. My birthday is on October 15th, so not for a while.
Okay. We heard that right, folks. Come October 15th, buy 15 copies of her books, any match or mix. It doesn't matter how. That's right indeed. So that's right. So she gets to keep the 14-year-old status a little longer. Hooray. So my goodness, Shanti. So like, how did this all really begin? Like, did your parents just write books while you're in the womb and it just transferred to you and you decided to come out with a giant quill on arrival day? Like, how did this all come about?
So I think I've always been very interested in writing. I have memories dating back to elementary school where I would just sit down and I would write. It was always something I think I wanted to do when I was older. However, I didn't have the time to do it, or I didn't think I had the time. My mindset, especially in like 4th, 5th grade, was that kids can't write books. That doesn't happen, but adults somehow can. So when you're an adult, you should write a book. However, considering that I'm here right now means I completely got rid of that mindset, and I have now written more books than I ever thought I would write as an adult.
Yeah, tons more. Yeah. Folks are lucky to get one book out, let alone 10 published, 17 in total. Oh my goodness. Well, of course, with the springtime of youth, creativity ensues, but my goodness, is there another source of your creativity for all this writing that you do?
I'm not quite sure. Usually my creativity just comes from random things. All of my ideas, I have to say, are quite random. I do think that there are certain things like I get inspired by more than others. However, mostly, I don't know. I do consider myself a creative person. I did used to like draw a lot as a kid. I would just create things. I used to create websites for fun, but now I've kind of just turned completely towards writing.
Well, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's definitely interesting. So creating websites for fun, and heck, it's actually a lot easier now. And if I'm not mistaken, I think your website's actually been even more polished at the time of this recording than 3 months ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I've definitely updated it a lot.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, my goodness. So, take us back to book one that became published. Was that the one where it was like 200,000 words that had to be broken up into a series, or was it totally different?
Yes, that was Biome Walk. Biome Walk was the novel I wrote right at the beginning of the pandemic. I didn't actually expect it to be a novel, nor did I expect it to be very long. My original goal was to have it be 20,000 words because that was the length of one of my favorite books at the time. However, there's a big difference between 20,000 words and 200,000 words. So this is the original Biome Block. Of course, it's changed since. And actually, I had to split it into 3 books because it was too long to publish as one, because very often people won't buy a 800-page novel because that's a little long. And even me, I'm very kind of just I don't really like very long books. I prefer shorter, quick books that get to the point quickly, and this is certainly not that. So I split into 3 books. In the fourth book, not the fourth book, the first book was actually published last summer, and the other 3 books are still in editing because surprise, surprise, I wrote a 4th book.
Ah, that's what I'm talking about. My goodness, my goodness. That's freaking amazing. That was freaking amazing. So the first draft, or should I say the first printing, did you have someone edit all of those words, or did you just print it as is and then broke it up and have it edited?
Thankfully, sort of. Had someone go through it, and even they agree with me. Like this needed to be split. So then the first book is the one that's been really in depth edited. The other 2, not so much. I've done I don't know. For context, I did rewrite Biome Walk several times that actually made it longer. The first draft was only around 100,000 words, which would have been fine to publish. The second draft was maybe around 200,000, and the third one was 250,000, and that is this one right here.
Wow. My goodness, my goodness. That's right. Publisher's like, hey, we're trying not to give people concussions here. Like, cut that in half. Like, cut it in threes. Folks barely read Bibles anymore. Like, come on. Oh man, but that is amazing. That is amazing, though. And congrats
Thank you.
again. Congrats again. So my goodness. So how's it like for your parents when they realized, hey, you got this wonderful, mighty tome of sci-fi goodness going on?
They were quite surprised originally because I never actually told them like, oh yeah, I'm writing a book. It was just something that kind of happened, and then I was like maybe a few weeks later, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm like writing a book right now, and I'm about not halfway done with it. I've written a few chapters, and I think it's all right. And then like flash forward like a few months later, and I had this 800-page novel, and like yeah.
That's right, indeed. And I believe you have some writers in the family too, right?
Um, kind of, not quite.
Ah, okay. There we go. All right. I just realized that was a pun this whole time. Ha ha. Ah, freaking hilarious. The right way. Oh man. Oh man. So my goodness, my goodness. So taking this wonderful big book of mighty wisdom and fantasy goodness, breaking it down to a trifecta series, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're 3 books shy because I think you said you wanted to have 20 books written by the age of 15, right?
Yeah.
There you go. So how goes progress? Because I think you made it to 17, right?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on number 17, and I have a somewhat solid idea for number 18. Actually, I have multiple ideas for number 18. It's just kind of a like question of which do I do next. So yeah, number 18 is definitely on the table. And then 19, it's like I'm debating doing a sequel to a different book, or it's like I have ideas so quickly and I start to get really, really excited about the set ideas and then not so much. So it's very complicated in that way. But definitely I'm hoping to achieve it. I only unfortunately have a month and a half of summer because I'm switching schools, and the kind of date my school ends and the one that one starts aren't too compatible. So I'm hoping to be able to get to say 19 over the summer, and then I'll write one more once school starts, and I hope it'll be done by the time I turn 15, and then I'll have 20.
My goodness, my goodness. So is writing all you do? Because some folks listening, especially the grown-ups, are like, oh God, like how the heck is she doing all this? Is like, does she like write while she's in school? Like, is she doing online course and writing while the teacher's teaching? Like, like, like how is that? Because I hear you got some few hobbies, especially interesting one called falconing, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, falconry is has to do with like hawks and falcons. I actually haven't done it in a bit. I drive up to this place in Alpine, which is a good hour away from where I live, and you kind of basically call hawks to your glove, if that makes sense. It's very complicated. You might your listeners might have to Google it. But yeah, believe it or not, I do have a fair amount of hobbies outside of writing, and I definitely don't write all day. However, I do think a lot of my time is spent writing, and even at school, I'll sometimes write on my phone during break and stuff. But then once I'm all done writing, I do really enjoy like chilling out and watching YouTube and doing normal teenager things.
Okay. I got you. I got you. All right. Cool, cool, cool. And speaking of normal teenage things, even though it shouldn't be normal, I actually hear that, if I'm not mistaken, I think it might not have been by him, like it might have been another book. I believe bullying was a huge theme in one of them because of some unfair stuff that happened to you and your sister in middle school, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, that book was You Won't Know Her Name. This is my most popular book. It's done the best. A lot of people think it is the best. I don't quite think it's the best anymore. But yeah, this book is about the true story of what happened to me and my sister in 6th grade. And I didn't honestly think I was ever going to write such a book. However, I did. And when I published it, I didn't want it to be my most popular book. I just kind of wanted to put it out there to get it off my chest. And that backfired really quickly because now it's my most popular book, and that's the one people commonly associate with my name. So
Oh yeah. Yep, as the years come you realize, oh wow, why aren't you guys buying into the stuff I wanted you to buy into? No. You wanted the authenticity, no. Not this one, no, the pain. Oh man, oh man, oh man. But my goodness, and how has been because I know you're past that situation now and going to a new school and everything like that, but like I know bullying is still a huge thing nowadays. Like even with myself growing up, social media wasn't it just really had its beginning. Like social media for me was MySpace. Nowadays, you got TikTok and everything else. It's like bullying. It would stay in the school. Nowadays, it can go online. So my goodness, is bullying still something that you have to deal with a lot? And if so, is there any words of encouragement or wisdom you want to share with some of the grown-ups to help the kids out these days with bullying?
so I'd say it's kind of a complicated answer because it's yes and no as for how things are doing at my school, because I'm currently still at the school where all that really horrible stuff happened, and this is the person is still in the school despite what a lot of people have asked. There are multiple people whom they've hurt, and there are multiple people who want them out of the school, and this is not a public school. They can be expelled. Honestly, though, for advice, I'd say like talk to a trusted adult, whether it's a coach, a teacher, a parent, a relative, an older sibling. Tell someone about it before it gets worse, and find ways to distance yourself from the problem. And try to basically cut things off if and establish boundaries if someone is making you uncomfortable.
Sorry to hear that, man. It's kind of rough, especially you think well then again it's billed as a novel, but you think folks would actually take action. I mean, the school has one of their students writing a book about a situation that basically happened at the school. You think they would take more notice about something like that? That's kind of bad PR.
We're not sure if they know or not about the book because my school has not been at all responsive about the problem. The principal has said multiple times it's just middle school, it happens all the time. And without spoiling the book, I will say that there's not a single thing in this book that is just middle school. There's nothing in it that's normal, and that happens a lot and should happen. So we're not actually quite sure if she knows about the book. I kind of hope not, but I also think it would be quite an interesting conversation to have. Um, but I don't think my school would be pleased if they found out I wrote a book detailing everything that happened. I mean, I don't say any names in the book, so that's probably, yeah.
Although I will admit, I think I heard on one of your past podcast interviews that apparently bunch of classmates have copies of that exact same book and they read
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to hide something, hide it in plain sight, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. And it's good that you're able to find writing as an outlet for those emotions. And so, right, like it's really the job of the responsible adults to really help out when they can and whatever ways that they can. It's definitely rough because nowadays it's really sad to see how things have become. It's like the good and bad technology. It's like a blessing and a curse. It's like, hey, the good news is you get to promote yourself, put yourself out there. If you got a business, promote it. The bad part of it is like, hey, I know something about this person, or I'm gonna make stuff up about this person, and just blast it everywhere and just make them feel sad and horrible. But speaking of blasting, I hear you're one of those TikTok experts. You got over 20,000 followers.
Yeah, I just hit 24,000 followers yesterday. I use TikTok a lot in my marketing and just to share my story because I feel like I have kind of a unique story. And as such, a lot of my videos do very well. And I feel like I can inspire a lot of young people to do the same and to write. And in doing so, I've built this platform of readers and writers who just, want to write books and are very interested in my books. And it's been probably the most helpful tool for marketing. I can name only a few more things that might have done better than it. And that's just how kind of just incredible it's been.
Sweet. So you mentioned sharing your story. Is there another story that you want to share with the folks listening right now and want to get inspired, especially some friends who might be want to inspire too to embrace the creativity?
So, trying to think. I have a lot of really interesting stories related to writing. I think one that kind of really is prominent to me is that when I'm trying to think. So for You Honor Her Name, when I first released it, I did not expect it to do well. I did not want it to do well. I did not market it very much initially. Honestly, I didn't even think I was going to publish it into a few days before I actually had it published. And as such, I thought it was completely going to tank. I didn't do a pre-order campaign. I didn't do anything. I just released it and made an Instagram post, and that was it. However, I started slowly marketing it a little more. But right before the book's release, it was already a #1 new release on Amazon for poetry, and I was started receiving sales because I had actually it was the day after I released the book. I made a TikTok about it, and that's when I first started my TikTok account. And I had a bunch of sales. I had a bunch of people messaging me about how they loved the book and how it had helped them, and it was just this completely new thing to me. And ever since, I feel like my books have started doing so much better, and things have been so much more successful.
There we go. There we go. Indeed. That's right, indeed. Kind of reminds me of the classic law of attraction some folks be talking about. It's like, hey, the more you say no, it's something you don't want it, the faster it comes at you.
Yeah.
It's like, why no? I'm scared to be a bestseller. Oh crap, it happened. Oh man. So my goodness, my goodness. So since you've been on a bit of the virtual book tour promoting the work that you're doing to really get the work out there and talk about the good stuff you're doing of writing these wonderful books, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often?
Hmm. I'm not quite sure actually. I asked so many questions that it's kind of hard for me to pick some that I would kind of like to um be asked more. I'd say it's kind of interesting talking about marketing, which we have a little, um, because I don't know. At some point, I really want to teach writing or teach marketing or teach something related to marketing, and I actually had plans to do that, and then I never followed through with them. But definitely something related to that. like in marketing, because I don't get asked a lot about my marketing kind of process. It's mostly the writing process. However, that's also honestly equally as important.
Ah, sweet. So I'm guessing, yeah, actually, now that I think about it, you actually mentioned TikTok is your best marketing tool. So any advice or a little nudge for folks to get on TikTok for those who may be scared to do so or probably don't feel like having another social media profile to worry about?
I know a lot of people think it's just an app for dancing or goofy videos, but it really isn't. There's a variety of content on TikTok, and it's always growing, and the platform is always increasing. And there's, especially for authors, there's a whole community on readers looking for new books. And there's a whole community of writers looking for tips and looking for other writers to connect with. And I've made a lot of friends from the app. I've befriended some of my readers. I've gotten so many new readers, and it's another way to build an amazing platform. And actually, I'm also thinking of expanding to YouTube, because I'm thinking of either starting a podcast, a YouTube channel, or both, sharing about how you can kind of improve your writing and publishing. So it's like writing and publishing advice from teen author Shanti Hershenson. Sounds kind of cool. I actually haven't really done much with it yet, but it's another idea of mine.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Yeah, because that's interesting. You're so right about the whole writing community on TikTok. I think it's called Book Talk, and heck, even in Barnes and Noble, they have a whole Book Talk section now. It's like, all right, so you guys are finally moving into the modern era. About time. I'm like, all right. It's like, oh crap, we're about to die. I guess we have to tap into social media, let self-published authors and indie authors come in now. Oh, hey, we're still alive. All right, I guess it worked. So, my goodness, that is amazing. That is amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome indeed. So, do you take any public speaking courses at all, or do your parents coach you with your speaking? Because I've heard you on past shows and hearing you now, you're clear, you're concise, you know what you're doing, you're confident. Do you have a coach? Do you take any course or anything to help with that?
On public speaking, I do not. However, I think I've gotten significantly better at it now that I do a lot of podcasts and I talk to a lot of people. I have to say, when I originally started doing podcasts, I was not nearly as clear of a speaker, and I was a lot more like, so I did this and then this, and now I think I'm starting to get a lot more confident in my speaking, and enough so that I'm literally thinking of starting a YouTube channel. And I had one and it was really bad, and it was just me playing Beyblades all day. However, I'm actually starting to think of like helping other people now that I can clearly state like my points and I can clearly kind of explain everything.
Oh, hey, I guess you should let it rip when it comes to the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
huh? Oh man, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So this seems to be your wheelhouse now. Do you still plan on attending college and taking up computer science, I hear?
I do plan on going to college. However, I probably won't take up computer science. I think I'm going to try to get a degree in English, so then I can go on and teach English at a college and be an English professor as well as a writer. And just so I can kind of just do a lot of things related to writing. Like, I'm interested in screenwriting and journalism, and I feel like all those things I can do as long as I really just keep up the writing I have now.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's right, folks. You heard it here first. Well, technically not here first, but hey, you heard it here, folks. So going north. Leave some apples on Shanti's virtual desk, y'all. She's gonna be a professor one day, y'all.
Thank you so much.
Oh man. So my goodness, my goodness. I guess at the time of this recording, I guess the last book to release, I believe, is called The God's Right Hand, if I'm not mistaken. So if that book was a food, what would it be and why?
Hmm. I'm not sure. Definitely something. Hmm. I don't know why I just thought of this. Space ice cream. So you know the ice cream that comes freeze dried, I think. I don't know why. Maybe just because it has a lot of military aspects to it, but I feel like the characters in the book would have that as a snack, and it would definitely um somehow work. I actually come to think of it, I thought of this a lot because I was gonna try to just make dinner based on like all of my books and have like one food be kind of related to all my books. However, I could not do that because I kept laughing at what I had picked for You Won't Know Her Name.
Which one would that be?
An artichoke. It's a horrible joke.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. Artichokes and military MREs, baby. Military rations, baby. Oh, man, that's freaking gold. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. So, my goodness, coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, but in your case, is going to be a little different. So, my goodness, so if you're to wake up tomorrow and you were 12 again, but you're in the year of 2022, what advice would you give to yourself?
Don't stop writing and continue to write Biome Lock. Don't give up. Because there were a lot of moments when I was writing Biome Lock where I thought, like, I shouldn't be doing this. This is not going to do well. There's no real point to doing this. And like, I just kind of had moments where I was like, I can't do this. This is too hard. And just don't give up. Don't stop writing. Write the same amount every day, and you got it.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about, dude. She's a machine, baby. That's right, she's a machine. She's a writing machine, baby. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. All the quills, baby. That's right. Hashtag quill swag all day with this one, y'all. That's right, indeed. So for those who need to keep up with your journey, because it's a bright future that's ahead of you and all your future books, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Of course, my first thing is always go to my website. I update my website frequently. My website is actually shantihershenson.com. That's ShantiHershenson.com. You can also find me, of course, on TikTok. That's a big one. I share writing advice, marketing advice. I share videos about my books, just everything. My TikTok is at Shanti Who Writes. You can, of course, find the link literally everywhere on all my other pages on my link tree. My Instagram is just at Shanti Hershenson. My Twitter is at Shanti Hirsch.
Oh, there we go. That's Shanti Hirsch, y'all. That's right, indeed. It ain't Shanti Hershey, baby. It's Shanti Hershenson, baby. That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. You're getting good, solid tomes, baby, not chocolate, baby. That's right. Although you can eat some chocolate while reading these novels, y'all. I'm telling you. Good stuff, indeed. Good stuff, indeed. So keep up with her journey. We're going to put the link to her site and the books in the show notes so that way y'all can devour and keep up with her journey. Because 10 years from now, you'll probably be even surprised. Like, man, she'll probably be like, man, God, I sucked back then, but I'm freaking amazing now. I went from like gold to platinum. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one listening right now. Thanks a bunch for sharing some of your time out of your day to listen to this podcast. To take it to the next level, be sure to share it with someone that you care about and that would get something out of this podcast too. Advance others to advance yourself.